Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to show you how to add the lights for your sign. Now if you want to get the sign, just go ahead on my website and you can print it out. It's under the 50's Diner, okay, which is listed under the Storybook Cottage because that's the dollhouse that it is. Okay, the first thing we did was we drew lines here and we decided where we want to put this. And we want to have a light featured over top of each one of these menus. So there'll be 1, 2, 3 lights. And then we're going to frame this out and everything and attach it there. All right, so we've got them marked 1, 2, 3, and now we're just going to drill down.
I started a hole so it'd make it easier to drill.
Now for the lighting for this, we're just using 12-volt LEDs, which you can find them on Amazon or you can find them on eBay. They're very, very small. Okay. So once you have all 3 of the holes drilled, make sure it's completely through where you can feel the hole underneath. And then we're going to run the wire and the tape. Okay, so you can see this goes all the way through by looking at the paper clip that we just bent open. All right, so it's going to be a little bit of a trick to get it up there. So we twisted the wire and then we just slide it right on through like that. All right, which leaves your lights hanging down like this.
You should get them. You can adjust the height of the lights if you want them to hang down or go up, either way.
Okay, so if you want to push them up all the way up here, you'll have a bump when you go to put your siding on. So the fix for that will be to take the drill bit and just kind of let it go down and really put like indentation in that.
You can take the knife and do the same thing. You got a nice sharp cutter. Get one of them big knives to use it.
And then it leaves that with a little bit more of a ridge. And then Dad's going to show you how to do it with a knife.
Just hold the knife on a little angle, put a little bit of pressure.
Don't cut yourself in the process.
Just be slow. Take your time. Depends on how far you want to take it out and how far you want to dig in there. How much of that light goes past the hole. That should be enough to do it on either one.
Okay, keep that one like that, Dad. Okay, now I'm going to put it up and show you the difference. Okay, so now you can see how this is. Now this is, when we press it down, there's still a bump there. Now when this one is pressed down, it's right even with the edge of this.
Flush.
So it's pretty much flush against it. And then this one is not. So this one you would have a bump, this one you would be flat. And you can kind of see the difference when I do that, as opposed to, see how it wants to do the teeter-totter? There's no teeter-totter there. All right, so if you have wires that were, well, lights like the ones we're using and it has this shrink wrap on there, then you want to probably get rid of the excess wood. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that to this one, and then we'll continue to show you how to finish this, and we'll be right back.
Turn it around.
Okay guys, so now we're going to take some of this copper taping, and we have shortened these and spiced the ends. And when I say spice, I mean cut the insulation off of the edge of it. If you can see, just the bare wire right here and right here on each one of these. Okay, now we're going to take some of this copper tape, and I'll show you what this is. You can get this in the glass section of stained glass foiling for like when you're doing actual stained glass. They have it at Hobby Lobby. It was $5.99 in Maryland. I don't know what it would be where you guys are, but that's all it is. It's like copper tape. And they do sell it in the miniature dollhouse section. You can get it with copper tape that way, but it's exactly the same thing, and it'll do the same stuff. All right, so just want to peel the backing off of it and run it from the edge of the house over to the edge of the lights. Got it? All right, and you want to do 2 rows because you're going to need a positive and you're going to need a negative. All right, so we're going to do the second row right above that. Okay, so once you have it on there like this, then you want to take yourself a red Sharpie and a black Sharpie, because the wires are red and black. That's going to help you keep it together. And you want to mark one with positive and negative. All right, so you can do a plus for positive and a minus for negative. Okay, so this will help you when you're wiring it to keep in mind where you're putting each one, because you do not want to have, that's really a terrible circle there. Okay, so you do not want to have confusion, because if you put the negative on the positive and the positive on the negative, something's not going to work. So try to keep it in line of where you have it at all times with the positive and the negative. And we've done that pretty much throughout the entire dollhouse. All right, so now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and measure from here to the top and from here to the top. And then we're going to put some wire going up there as well.
I'm gonna put some lights up there on the inside, but the wire's gonna be on the outside.
Now you can run the wire on the inside, but in this particular dollhouse, the inside is very, very cramped in the top because it's just supposed to be an attic space, so it shouldn't have a lot of space in it. And in fact, I can show it to you real quick while Dad's fooling with that tape. So you would have to get up underneath of here, which is really going to be difficult. I mean, we have a lot of wiring on the floor and everything, but it would be hard to get up in here and then have to cover all of this as well with the taping. So it's just as easy to run the wire and the tape on the outside and drill a hole going down and just drop it like we did over here. Now, for that side, what we've done is we've ran it up on this side, drilled a hole, and then, or drilled a hole here and then ran it up underneath. So once it's up under there, you don't see it at all. Okay. And if you want to learn how to make this dollhouse, go on my website and look under Storybook Cottage, because that's where all the videos are going, under that section. Or you could just filter through the YouTube channel and you'll come across them as we've done them. Okay, so when you put this one here, you want to make sure this meets on the corner. However, if you overlap it, as you'll see in our other tutorials, you need to put a piece of black electrical tape here if you're going to run it from here across that. Because if this hits that, you're losing your connection. So that's why we started it over just a little bit further away so we didn't have to do the electrical tape on the outside. It's one less thing we've got to cover up. Here. You got it? Okay. So this corner will get soldered, this will get soldered, and then these will solder to these The red being to the red, and then the black being the black, meaning negative and positive. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we have put just a tiny bit of glue inside of the hole where those lights are going to be. And that's just going to keep them from falling down. Of course, once it's soldered, it's really not going to fall down, but it does stabilize it a little bit so that it's less likely to move around.
Into the groove.
And it
Into
keeps
the
it
groove
there.
we cut so it doesn't stick out. And don't get hot glue all over your thumb, but it doesn't tickle.
Okay, and he's just using a coffee stirrer to flatten the glue out. I will tell you this, a butter knife or something with a flat edge comes off a little bit quicker and easier than that coffee stirrer does. So use what you want to get it in there. Just do not use your fingers because hot glue does burn. Okay, so the next step is to put some flux on here, and we put it on each one where the wire is going to be and on the edge of the wire, and then on the corner where the tape meets. And this is like forever old flux, but you can get a newer version of it. In fact, this is even in a tin can. It's probably worth more than it is for us to use it than anything because it's like 25 years old. It still works. Okay, so he's just putting the solder right on the tape and then just melting it over top of that joint. And the flux helps to heat it up.
And
it makes it stick.
Makes a good connection. And we're going to glue the negatives in and the positives in.
Let me hold it with the wires. You got it? Your finger's awfully close.
Oh, don't burn my finger, I got it.
Now you're gonna burn your finger. 'Cause you said that. Alright, so you probably don't want to put your fingers that close to it because you'll probably burn it. It's a little bit easier to use wire, pliers, but Dad is stubborn, so he's going to use his finger and burn it in the process. Right, so just do that with all of the wires and attach them to the tape, and then the front half of the house will be wired. Now, before you put shingles on this, you need to test your connection throughout your entire house. And before you put bricks over anything, test those connections too. Because if you have a break in the tape or you didn't solder it properly, what's going to happen is when you connect it with the solder and everything, something's not going to light if it's not connected properly. Okay, so now I want to put my lights going down through the top. So I've marked on both sides where I want them to go, and then I'm just going to draw a hole right here. And then one right here. Be careful not to get caught up with those splinters because they will get you. And then you can drop your lights down through there. However, for the lights, I'm using these little bulbs, and I'm going to glue my lights inside of them. Okay, so I'm going to take some hot glue. I'll show you how to do that real quick. Okay, so I have them, and these you can get in your craft store. And I'm going to put my light bulb in there. And very carefully, I'm going to add just a little bit of glue. You don't need a whole lot. You just need enough to hold it. And then hold it right there in the middle until it dries. Okay, Dad, hold that for me. Again, I'm just putting it down in there. It's probably a good idea to test these to make sure they work before you do this, which I did not do. So it's going to be my luck that they are not going to work. All right.
Those new bulbs, they should work.
Yeah, they're new bulbs, so they should be working, but who knows. All right, so then that's going to give me my little light fixture that's going to go in the ceiling. Now you can always finish it off with a bead at the top if you like, or you can just recess it into the ceiling. Mine is going to be up underneath of that archway, so I'm not even going to see any of this except for maybe the edge down here, because I'm not going to let it hang. So once you do that and it's all cooled down, it's easier to put them in the hole by twisting the wires together so that you get a good connection, or not connection, but you get a good easy way to slide it up in there because it becomes one rather than two. Okay, and that's all you need to do for that. Okay, so now I've got them all twisted together, and I'm going to find my little hole, which is somewhere up here. Where's that little paper clip?
Right over there somewhere.
I think it's on that tray. All right, I'm going to put a little piece of tape on this because it's not going up there for me.
Huh?
Okay, so Dad put it on there and he got it in the first time. So he's not using the paper clip, but I was going to tape it to the paper clip. So if you can't get it in, tape it to a paper clip and or another piece of wire, and then you'll be able to fit it right up in there. It's not as easy as it looks, is it? You gave me the defective twist. Do you want that paper clip now?
It ain't helping me. I can't see where the paperclip is. I just made a straight line and it went right up in there. I'm reaching for this one.
Okay, so just put a little piece of tape around it. And then you can just fish it up like that. Uh-oh. Without having the other wire come off. So now I gotta retape it. Hang on. Give me another piece of tape. There you go.
Put it up through the hole.
Wait, I gotta unbend it now, because now I just went the opposite way. Alright, so that's how easy it is to do it with a paper clip. Okay, so now we're just going to take a tiny bit of hot glue and just put it on that little section there. Just keep it in there.
Flatten that out.
That's it for that. And then it'll just keep that from falling back through. Again, it's just an extra little precaution.
Some cutters though. Wire cutter.
Okay, so now you want to measure over the length that you're going to need to go from here to this area for positive and negative, and again to this one here. All right, and if it's not long enough, you'll have to run a piece of tape going across.
That one's long enough, yeah.
All right, so what we've done is we've twisted the black together for both lights, and we've twisted the red together for both lights. Okay, so that way we have a positive and a negative, and they're joined together as one. Okay, so we just soldered this to the positive and the negative, just like that, and then that's done.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we did this side, we did not decide to do the lights out front like we did just now. However, if you're going to do those, you're going to need to sand the insulation off of this. So because we didn't do that prior, which is when it should have been done, we took a nail file and we sanded underneath of it like that to get the insulation off of it. And it may not look like it has insulation on it, but it does, because when you sand it, and I don't know that you can see it, it's a different color. It's got like a slacker kind of gloss coating over it.
It's a shellac insulation is what it's on there.
Okay, so you need to remove that, otherwise you'll solder forever and it won't stick to it.
That's good.
Alright, so now we've got a spot here for 2 holes. And we're going to drill them right there. And that way we can put the wire through to connect it. Okay, so now we're putting a little bit of flux on top of where we just sanded off that insulation. And a little bit on the wire that we're going to be connecting to it. Alright, remember the red is going to go with the red, and then the black is going to go with the black. I think it's on there. Okay.
Yeah, see, you get the sticking away. Hold it right there.
Alright, so then that's how you solder that on there. Try not to touch the wood if you don't have to, because it will burn it. And I would hate for you to burn your house down. Literally. Okay, so now you want to run a piece of your copper foil tape across here, or a long enough wire. Either way will work. We're going to do the copper foil tape because it's a little bit easier and less bulky.
Get it up close to the top.
Alright, and be careful because the copper tape can actually cut your finger too, so you don't want to do that. You just want to be very careful when you're running your finger across it to go to the other side, because if you get the edge of it, it is, sharp, so it will, cut into your finger. You want to do 2 just like that. Double them up like we did on the front. One on top of the other. And remember to keep your positive and your negative the same as we did on the other side.
Instead of trying to pick and clean and everything, if you take the copper part and you bend the copper part towards you like that, the paper will come right off. Then you don't have to sit and pick and pull and try to get it. It's a lot easier than it looks.
Okay, so now you want to measure from the back down, and what's going to happen is right here, you're going to connect one here and you're going to connect one here. And I can't show you both the front and the back at the same time, so I'm just showing you this part now. Alright, so I know you remember when I said earlier in the video about you can't overlap the 2 connections or you will lose connection. So you don't lose connection, you use black electrical tape and you cover it like this after you solder it. Okay? So I'm showing you this now because once we start soldering, we're going to solder it. But solder that joint and then put that tape over top of it. And then you can take the tape from this side and run it over away from it so it doesn't connect. Just don't let it touch the tape on the front. It can only stay within the one negative or positive side, whichever side you're working with. Okay, so we've got solder right here now on that connection, and then we went ahead and cut this one short so we didn't have to do the crossover with the tape. However, if you need to do the crossover with the tape, then that's when you would put that on there, and you could run your copper tape over top as long as it doesn't connect over the one on the other side. All right, so we made a connection through the back to the front, and now we're going to solder that right over to the other side, connecting to the front wires. Okay, so we have soldered a piece here, looped it around to there, and then put it here. I'm going to take a piece of electrical tape and I'm just going to put it over top of here because it is on the roof and I don't want that connection to get broken. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing with this piece here because it's such a thin opening there. All right, now we need to solder this here on the front.
You could put electrical tape or duct tape, anything to protect it.
Okay, so we've trimmed a little bit off of below here so that we can cross over without any connection issues. And then right there. So this side is going to be the negative. And then this side here is the positive.
My daughter's going to hold this down there while I solder it.
Where's the stick?
All done.
Okay, so now all the connections are made from the front of the house. It's going to go across here, up to the top, over to the back, and then back down over here. Now, you could always run it from straight there, go up this roof and come down and go in that way, but it's a lot more work to just go up and over than it is to go across the back and down. All right, so that's why we did it that way.
And it's going to the power supply, which is underneath, when
Yeah.
that dollhouse is complete.
Yeah, the power supply is all going to be here.
So what we'll do right now is get the power supply and test everything.
Okay, so you can see these lights are now working. Yep,
The ones up underneath.
they're working. They're up there. Sloppy paint job. Now that I have a light camera up there. That's working. All of those are working, and all of these are working. So that's just doing a test power supply hooked to it, and then
Well, I got the light on the
I'll
camera.
show you that. We have the wire with the wires going here, inside of there, and up there. Okay, and this is the floor which connects all the lights down here. The floor here connects all the lights down here. This tape going across the back actually is connected to the front. It goes from here, up here, across that back section, back over to here, down here. It comes in there and goes over to here, and then it goes underneath of the house. And then it's connected. Those two wires get connected to the power source, and then you would actually attach that to either a plug or like a battery supply, but it has to be the 12 volts. Okay, and it's always good to have your house on a surge protector. Now, this side, this light goes up through the ceiling, and then it comes down over on this side and goes in through here and then runs across the bottom and connects into that. And then that's how all the wires are joined together. All right, the video tutorials for the other wire is on my channel and on my website. So don't forget to follow that. And if you are going to overlap, remember, when you overlap, you have to put the black electrical tape covering the joints. Because if you don't, you're going to lose connection and it's going to short out.
You want to insulate it.
Yes, you want to make sure it's insulated. Always make sure that you mark your positive and your negative so that you don't get confused. Because when you're running wires and you're going here and then you're crossing over, that can be confusing, and you'll end up, once you get everything laid out, forgetting where the wire was and what it went for. All right, so that's it for that, and we will probably add a little porch light right here, but that's not going to be in this tutorial. So don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a question, suggestion, or comment below. Check out my website under dollhousetutorials.com. And if you want to see lots of pictures, or you want free templates or free furniture templates and free printables, they are also listed on my website. So definitely go there, and please share my page so others can enjoy this great hobby. It means a lot to us. And also, if you make something that we do, please share it with us, because we absolutely love seeing it. We love your comments and suggestions, so don't forget to leave them below. Have a great day.